Hey guys, it's Maymay and check it out. This is the Cricut Explorer Air and I'm super excited to unbox this machine and cut some really cool materials to show you guys what this thing can do. Now I want to be upfront and open and honest with you guys and let you know that Cricut did send me this machine to review. I do own the Cricut Explorer, the regular one that I have an adapter to make it wireless. This one has the built-in wireless, so I was really excited to get to try this one out. So we're going to see if it's as good as my original Explorer because I love that one. Let's see what this one does. Now in the box, it looks like it comes with a packet that says start here, and it opens like so, and it has all kinds of goodies, and we'll go through that in just a second. I'm going to set that aside for us. Now just to show you everything that comes in the box, you get a cutting mat. This is your power adapter here, and this is your USB cable. You can use this if you don't go wirelessly. And then this is a pen, a silver marker, for you to use in the machine as well. Now, your Cricut comes in a nice little package, and you can use this carrying case over and over if you're going to crops and things like that. Another bit of packaging in there. Let's pull this pretty dude out. I love this blue color. I haven't seen it yet. It's so pretty. Look how sleek the machine is. I do love that. I'm going to move this container because we won't need that. But look at this beautiful machine. I just love it. Now, if my little guy was here, he'd want to hit this button first because that's the open button. It opens like a spaceship. That's what he tells me. Look at how beautiful that is. That smooth movement. He loves it. Now, the one thing I want to do to get us started is I'm going to remove this little bit of packaging there. And that blade is now free to go. A couple of things I want to talk about the Cricut. A lot of you have asked me some questions. What's the difference between the Explorer and the Explorer Air? The biggest difference is going to be the fact that this one has built-in wireless. So you don't need the adapter for this one. But if you get the regular Explorer, you can buy the little adapter for that. Check this out. Storage compartment for things like pens, scissors, anything like that. I love this one. Check this one out. Now the other thing I love, they're magnetized. Now you might think that's silly, but the cool thing about it is you're not having to put a lot of pressure on this little landing here because it's really easy to open and close. You also have a storage container here. If you have Cricut cartridges that you need to sync, they go right here. You just slide them right into there and sync those cartridges. And this is your control panel. So let's get started doing some fun stuff. Now your power cord just connects into the back of the machine, super easy, and this is your on button. So I'm just going to turn the machine on and you'll see it start to move around. This first little sheet says, getting started is so easy, we'll walk you through your first few steps. If you have other questions, there's an 800 number here for you. If you need to call them, you can. Now this is your iPad setup. I'm not going to need that tonight. I want the computer setup. That is this little section. There's also the Learn More section. And then, check this out, get free online craft classes. This gives you information about that. And it feels a little thicker, but no, it's just thick. So, get a free class, 1 month free access. That's pretty cool right there. All right, and then this one is your warranty. So you can just keep all that all together. Now you also get some sample materials. This is a little bit of blue cardstock. You get 2 pieces of gray, and this appears to be iron-on, white iron-on. And I'm not going to use these materials tonight because I have videos showing you how to use these materials on my channel already. I'll link those below. What I want to use is some thicker material because I asked for the deep cut housing blade and they sent it to me, and I want to see how that guy works. Now the first thing we need to do is to pair our Cricut with our computer. This is basically telling our computer how to talk to the Cricut and vice versa. So here's what I like to do. See my mouse here at the top right of the screen? I'm going to click on this little symbol that is Bluetooth. It kind of looks like a sideways spider. I don't know how else to describe that. And then we're going to open Bluetooth Preferences. Now once I opened Bluetooth, you can see here that I have one machine down here that has not been paired. This is my Cricut Explorer. It's already been paired, but it's not in the room, so it's not connected. This is my Cricut Air, and I want to connect it by pairing it. So you'll click on Pair. My machine is on, by the way. The Cricut Explorer Air is turned on, and so now it will pair. And now it is connected. It is that simple. You close this little guy out, and your machine is connected. Super easy. This little blade is the deep cut blade I was telling you about. Now this particular blade comes with a separate housing and a deep cut blade. So we will need to put the blade inside the housing and put it into the cradle, but I'll show you how to do that. This is what your blade looks like when you get it. This is the deep cut blade, and I want to show you. What you do is you remove this little blue kind of protective cover from the top, and this is the actual blade here. Now this is the housing for the deep cut blade. It is different. It is a dark black, not like your silver one that comes with your machine. So what you're going to do is take that special blade we had, the one that's for deep cut. There's a hole in the top of this little dude right here. See that little hole? And all you do is take the dull end, the one that's not the sharp blade, and slide that into that hole. Now this will happen pretty quick because there's a magnet, but watch what happens. It just sucks it down in, and now the blade is where it needs to be, and it's not going to come out. And watch, you can press this little top and know that that blade is in there like it should be. Cool, huh? All right. Now you'll notice on the Cricut Explore Air and also on your Cricut Explore, there are two spots for a blade. One is for a blade, and this is for your scoring tool or markers. So blades go on the right hand side and scoring tool or markers go on the left. Now here's how you change them out. This little gray piece just moves forward. This is the B, by the way. It says B on the front. It moves forward, and when it does, it just kind of opens this up. Now you're just going to reach over and remove the original housing that comes with the machine. This is so simple. And then slot in your deep cut housing and then shut the machine. Now you don't have to do this every time. Only when you're using the deep cut. If you're using your regular one, don't worry about it. This one is only when you want to do deep cuts on, say, chipboard and things like that. You can store this in your little handy container there, or you can put it into one of these little spots too when you're not using it. Now I'm not going to be gentle. We're going to start with some pretty heavy chipboard. This is some that I get from my friend Edith at scrapbookingwithme.com. Really thick. We're going to start with this one and work our way up to some thicker material. Because I'm going to be using this heavier chipboard, I've turned the dial on my machine to custom. This way it'll allow me in my software to tell it what kind of actual material I'm going to be cutting. And I'm using a heavy chipboard, so I'm going to set this to heavy chipboard. It is not light by any means. And then I'm going to follow the instructions, which should be load next. Now I'm using the brand new mat that came with the machine, which is super nice. I'm glad I have that. We've got our material loaded to our Cricut mat. We've got the Cricut ready to go, and it's flashing here for me to press go. So here we go. We'll see what happens. I did get the machine to cut through this material pretty well, and I'm pretty happy with how that came out, except for this one little edge. Now this piece that I'm going to attempt to cut is a very thick piece. I don't know if you can see how thick that is. It's really probably thicker than what the machine requests that we use on it, but I'm going to see what it'll do just to show you. So I'm going to load this into our machine, and then I'm going to tell it to go, and we'll see what we get. Now I've got the machine set to heavyweight chipboard. This is a really thick material. So it did not cut all the way through. Can you see that? It left that little heart in there, and it's barely peeking through the backside. I'm going to try something different. So I have reloaded that very same chipboard. I'm going to load it into the Cricut. I'm going to do the same cut, that heart. I'm just going to tell it to go once it's recognized, and it is now. But I'm going to try a trick. I'm going to let it cut through one time. Now it actually does 3 passes, which is awesome, and it gets it pretty deep. But I'm going to let it do these 3 passes, and then I'm going to show you something else. Now because I know it did not cut through the first time on 3 passes, I'm not going to touch anything. I'm not going to unload anything or anything. I'm just going to come over and hit the little Cricut icon again. And this will make it cut exactly where it stopped, the same way it did previously. So it's going to cut through 3 more times in the very same spot. And we're going to see if this will get us through that material. All right, let's check it out. And it did. A little bit on one side didn't go through perfectly. Well, it did clean up right there. It cleaned up really well. Let me bring this to show you. So by doing it that way, it cuts that thicker mat board. And guys, that is some thick, thick stuff. Let me show you. So the first time I attempted to cut this thicker product, I used the heavyweight chipboard setting and it did not go all the way through. However, on the second try, I let it cut one time. I did not unload it. I did not move it from where it was, and I hit the Cricut icon a second time, which causes the needle or the blade to go exactly where it just left. So then it did it 3 more times and it got through this thicker chipboard. That's pretty cool to me because I love the way that looks. Let's try that on another idea. Now this is very, very, very thick mat board, okay? And I get this one also from my friend at Scrapbooking With Me Boutique. Her name is Edith. She sells this in her store. I'm sticking this down to the mat. You probably can't see that, but I'm going to load this in. However, I think I'm going to change the image. I'm going to change it to something a little more detailed. I'm going to change it to a star. It's not a whole lot more detailed, but it is slightly more. And I know I'm not showing you Design Space very much here, but I have videos that will show you that, so I will link those below for you so you can see how to use Design Space. Today I just really wanted to try out this deep cut blade. Alright, so I'm going to tell it to go on my machine, on my computer, and I'm going to load this into the machine. And I'm really nervous about this one because it's a very, very thick product, but we're going to try what I just did and see if it will work. I've set my dial to custom. And I'm going to set the actual computer to heavy chipboard. So my software is set to heavy chipboard. My dial is set to custom. And now let's load it. And I'm going to tell it to cut. Now, when it finishes, I'm not going to click unload. I'm going to leave it there. It's going to cut through 3 times because it's on the heavyweight setting. Okay? But in the past, on my test, it didn't go all the way through. So what I'm going to do is let it cut another time right after it finishes here, and I'll show you how to do that. So all I'm going to do, notice how it's flashing to unload. I'm not going to unload it. I'm just going to hit the Cricut again, and it will repeat exactly what it just did in exactly the same spot. Now I'm going to unload it. Now I'm going to tell you something. I don't recommend doing this in your machine. I have pushed this machine to its limit, I can tell, and I don't like that. But I'm going to show you this because I can already tell. It did cut it pretty good. There's some of that, I can't get it to rip. There we go. Some of that paper didn't work perfect, but I can probably come right in here and clean that up a little bit. But this product is thicker than the last one we did. Let me get that little heart. So this black product is thicker than this product. Only slightly, but thick enough that I can see why this one struggled. So this thicker product, I think I would avoid it in the Cricut. I think I'm really asking it to do something it shouldn't. This is probably an 1/8 of an inch thick, if I had to guess. This one is not quite that thick, and it cut really good. But now I want to make it clear that I'm not upset with the machine at this point. I have really been pushing it with some really, really thick products. But I'm working my way down. And this is a very traditional lightweight chipboard. And I'm going to see how it does with that same heart. So we're going to just cut that heart on a lightweight chipboard. Now, it's gotten close on those thick mat boards, but not 100% through. I feel like we'll see it happen this time. Okay, it's done. Let's unload it. Remember too, I have cut copper with this machine before and not the deep cut blade. So it does, I am impressed with how it cuts. Oh, look at that. See, that's perfect. And let me show you how thick this is. So this is a traditional lightweight chipboard. Let me show you the difference. Even though it did cut through this piece here earlier, this piece is like that, and this piece is like, you can see and hear the difference. I'm gonna bring them close to the camera. See the difference in those thicknesses? So it did cut this piece, but it just kind of messed up here, and it made a little slice in a funny area. So that one didn't go so well, but this one cut really well. I'm really happy with that. My favorite thing it cut was this regular old lightweight chipboard, and that's pretty heavy. That's like the back of a paper pack container. I think that did pretty good. So I'm not disappointed with the machine and what it did. I feel like based on how hard I pushed it, it did pretty good. Again, this is a very thick product. I would not suggest using one that thick. I think that the Cricut made some noises I didn't really love in the housing, and I knew I was pushing it, okay? This really lightweight chipboard is perfect. This a little heavier I think works great if you do 2 passes, but I wouldn't go any thicker than what the Cricut recommends, which for heavy is 0.7 millimeters. Alright guys, so there's my test with that deep cut housing blade, and I actually think it did pretty good considering what I put it through. So if you'd like to win your very own Cricut Explore Air, you can do so by clicking in the link below. There is a link that will take you to a raffle copter giveaway. There's a little form you'll fill out at that giveaway and you'll be entered to win. Now the contest is going to run from today, which is Wednesday, through Friday, Black Friday, where when I upload my video that day, I will announce the winner along with it. And that video will also be using the Cricut Explore Air, but we'll be doing a project with it so you can see it actually do probably glitter vinyl. I think that's what I want to show y'all how to do. Alright guys, so be sure to go enter to win your own Cricut Explore, and I want to thank the folks at Cricut for sending me this one to test out and for giving one away to you guys. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I'll see you on Friday to announce our winner.